Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Come Sit and Chat with Dr. Clay. So, I wanted to start off with saying that remember we have the chat area. Everything seems like it's going well. Hello, Ian. So we have the chat and comment area, and I want you guys to please post any questions that you may have or concerns during today. Hello, CT Cover. Our focus today is going to be on change and starting over. Okay? Change and starting over. Now, hi, Sherry Ann. Now, many of us have been strongly advised to stop, in order for us to stop the spread of the coronavirus, hi, Sherma, that we have to radically change almost everything that we are doing. Hello, Carlin. We have to change how we work, how we've been exercising, how we socialize with each other, how we educate our kids, manage our health, or just take care of our family. So we know that we would love for all of this to change, and we would love for all of this to stop, actually, not so much change, and for it to go back to what we considered normal for us. But many of us have to realize and come to terms with the fact that things won't go back to normal after just a few weeks or after a few months. Things may not go back to normal. Hello, Sharupa. So, you and me, like thousands of other people, have been asked to quarantine ourselves during the coronavirus outbreak. And we found ourselves living a drastically new way of life. So, some of you are only going out, like myself, for bare essentials, and I'm only doing so probably once a week. And usually I would just go out for a doctor's appointment or something like that. My husband is the one who goes out for any of the bare essentials on a daily basis. And sometimes I know that you might just feel like I'm stuck. I don't, I have, no one knows when things are going to be safe for us to be able to resume our normal schedules. When can I start traveling again? When can I just stop social distancing? Everybody is asking these questions, right? So it's like we're facing, how are we supposed to make plans for this new normal, right? Many of you I know are dealing with that at this moment in time because every day our government or some of our health experts are saying we just need to go a little bit longer, just a little bit longer, and the end date keeps changing. I know the frustration of that. And many of you are experiencing this isolation in a really bad way. Now, I know as the time gets extended, where we have to stay home and socially distance, we're also finding that there are some people who are feeling that they do not need to follow the restrictions anymore. Some of them are feeling as though, this is probably a hoax, it's not real. But I need you to know that it is real. And I know that with each day, if someone is saying to you the restrictions are going to go for another 2 weeks or another 3 weeks, it might be difficult for you to handle it because you want your normal to go back the way it was before COVID-19. Well, I'd like to introduce you to something that I share with my clients. It's a word called chunking. Okay, so chunking is something that is described as the way that our brains process large amounts of information. All right, so many of us will find that we are better at remembering things if we divide the information into smaller, more manageable pieces, chunks. Right, and that it's easier for the brain to deal with it, store it, and retrieve it. Okay, so in other words, if we start focusing on breaking up the tasks and the things that we have to do or the things that we have to handle and receive into small pieces so that we can manage them, then the outcomes will be a little bit more positive. And the reason I'm saying this is, say, for example, I'll use myself. if I have to think about reorganizing, oh, wait, we have a question. Hold on. The sad thing is that a lot of owners are encouraging the foolishness. You are absolutely correct, CT Cover. Hi, Dawn. How are you? Yes, a lot of people in New York City, as well as New Jersey and in the Caribbean, are leaving their businesses open, like the back door, some of the bars, some of the restaurants, and many of them are not taking it seriously. So, I would say to all of you that yes, we need to start helping people to be able to deal with this information and manage this change. Okay. So, like for myself, when I had to conceptualize, oh God, I need to reorganize my house piece by piece, or I need to reorganize my house in one whole day, it was easier for me to grasp the fact that if I do it one room at a time, it's easier for me to handle that I need to clean my own house now, rather than, oh God, I have to clean my whole house in one day and be overwhelmed by that. So I know it's been difficult because we have had an emotional shift every time we have an extension of our social distancing. We have gone from anxiety to resignation, and some people even hopelessness. So I know that many of you are continuing to make sacrifices, and it seems like it's never going to end because there is no end in sight for some of you. So I need you to start by, in order to manage this change, we're going to start committing in smaller increments of time. So I don't want you to think of this sacrifice that we have to make during COVID to keep your family safe and other people's families safe. That is something that's going to take your whole year, the rest of 2020, away from you. I know I don't need you to deal with it that way. I'm encouraging you to deal with it in increments, small increments, maybe daily increments, or committing to it 1 to 2 weeks, but keep it in small, bite sized, chunking increments. Let's see. Cherry Ann said, one of my stressors is that I really do not like to teach, and homeschool is very difficult, especially with the different personalities of my children. Thank you for bringing that up, Sherry Ann. Yes, that is extremely difficult. And I want you to know at the end of this session, I will make sure I put some points in there for you. Also, you can go on to Higher Potential for Learning LLC. I have put a lot of sites on there that will help parents manage now being parents as well as teachers for their kids. You don't have to be up under your children the entire time that they are learning. There are different ways that kids are able to take ownership of their own learning and be independent. And I promise I will share those resources with you. It is not an easy thing. We are relearning in our new normal different ways that we're able to do different things. So if we start managing these in chunk size or bite size pieces, then we'll be able to manage it a little bit better. And school does not have to be all day, Sherry Ann. You can have it in bite sized pieces for children to have to be able to play as well as a time to learn, and learning can also be fun. And I promise I'll share some of that with you in a little bit. Okay? So, as you are dissecting the timeline in these personally, you're very welcome, in these personally tailored chunks at a time, which is going to help you get through this social distancing and having to stay indoors, it'll help you get through it a little bit easier. I want you to know that if you don't start putting these concerns or issues that are triggering your anxiety or your depression or your feelings of helplessness and hopelessness, if you don't start putting it in manageable pieces, you're going to become overwhelmed. When we become overwhelmed, our brains tend to just shut down. We stop learning, we stop remembering things, we stop being motivated, because we're caught in that emotion of being anxious, of being afraid, and your brain is totally monopolized by that one thing. So I need you to remember, I know, at least for me, I used to remember my great grandparents in Orange Valley used to say that we can get through anything if we just take it one day at a time. And, I have to say it in my dialect because, of course, that's how Ma and Pa would say it. And everyone needs to recognize that if you intend to lessen the effects of COVID-19 and you have to go through these massive changes that you have to make, sometimes it may take longer than just a day at a time. So I know there's a big gap between one day and 5 months. I know that. But if I don't learn how to manage that in smaller pieces, I am going to contribute to the panic. I am going to end up contributing to not following directions and the regulations that are stated to keep us all safe. And I might start practicing hoarding and stuff like that all over again. So I want people to be more compliant, right? So I'm going to try today to help you establish ways that you could think about the time that you are being strongly encouraged to stay in and socially distance, to be able to manage that time so that you can manage your feelings of depression and anxiety before it paralyzes you, because I know it can. So, when it comes to your life and your professional career, because I know some of you are concerned about both of those things, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you are stuck indoors. Okay. So, after all, we know that we won't always be quarantined. Eventually, you're going to emerge from the other side and go back to some of our previous lives, which or our previous normal, whatever normal was for us, or we may start just living differently than we did before. So, now, I want you to think with this new, oh, wait, sorry. Also, some people need to stop avoiding the fact that a lot of these new habits are here to stay. Exactly. You have to face the reality that some of the things, some of the practices that we've been encouraged to implement may not change. And that might not be a bad thing, okay? It may be a good thing. It may not change. So, some of you need to use all this newfound time that you have. Either you can use it to binge watch on Netflix, which I have been guilty of doing every so often, maybe more than every so often. Or some of us may get stuck in grieving the loss of our previous lifestyle that we've been forced to put on hold. So, or you can just use this time to transform your life, improve on some of the skills that you have, build some healthier habits. Hello, Walter, how are you? Some of you may actually benefit from the time away from the bars, the restaurants, some of the money that we spent on those concerts and sporting events. And during the time that you're away from these things, you may come up with some of your best ideas. I know that this is a change that you have to go through, but you can choose to either grieve the past or welcome the future with open arms. Hello, Denise, and welcome it positively. So, some of the changes that you can make. Hello, Dr. McCullough. I know. Thank you. I am well. Thank you. Some of the changes that you might find that you would have to make are going to improve your lives and put you in a position that after the isolation, after COVID is over, you might emerge a better person than you were before it started. So, the first thing I'll say to everyone is please slow down. And this doesn't mean that when you slow down that you're not going to be productive. I have found that I've made the best decisions in my life when I take the time to just slow down. And it's one of the best ways that I've been able to handle some of the different changes that we've been strongly encouraged to implement. Quarantine is forcing a lot of us to slow down. And I want you to know slowing down gives you the time to process the world around us. It gives us the time to reflect on our lives, right? I have been able to think more clearly and honestly about some of the decisions that I've made in my past as well as my present. I know I've made some decisions in my life and in my career, or in just in every day in my family life that has affected us financially, that has affected my stability, that definitely has affected my happiness. And I'm sure many of you can reflect on some of those things. As I've said in some of my previous sessions, meditating has been something that I've tried to start doing. Don't laugh at me, okay? Meditation is not only something that brings a level of peace, but it gives my brain a chance to rest. It needs a break, and it helps relieve my stress and anxiety. And I found some of my clients have also stated that it has been beneficial to them as well. It gives us an opportunity to remove some of the negative stimulus that we are exposed to. Okay? And if you don't believe me, you can go on healthline.com. Okay, where I wrote that down. Here it is. Yes, healthline.com says that it also promotes meditation, promotes emotional health, enhances your self awareness, improves your attention span, and for some of our ADHD babies, you know this is something that you may need. And it also helps you reduce memory loss. So, if people like Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, and even Seinfeld have utilized meditation to help them relieve the stress and anxiety in their life, wait, why can't we also participate in that? And so far, I told you I have improved to 5 minutes, and I am going to get better at that. You know, practice makes you better, not perfect, better. The next thing I would encourage you guys to start doing is to get creative. Creativity, as they say, is the spice of life. And if you allow your creative juices to start flowing, you'll start creating recipes. Dr. McCullum sent a recipe. Well, he didn't send a recipe. It was on Facebook, and he showed us a picture of a vegetarian dish that he created that I was like, wow, okay, that looks actually delicious. And my family happens to be meat eaters, and I've been strongly encouraging them to be a little healthier. So that is something that I am willing to try. So share recipes with each other on the things that might be left in your pantry. Or when you go to the grocery store, you might be encouraged because of what's left on the shelves to try cooking something new. As I have been doing at least twice a week, I've been trying to experiment with different recipes so that I can balance the different things that I'm doing at home and actually being creative and building a stronger bond with my family. Some of you may do arts and crafts. Denise, Scott, you know, creative people. I know you have a store in Trinidad and Tobago, and you guys may never have visited it, but you should when you're in Trinidad, if you have that privilege, to go to creative people and see some of the wonderful things once this lockdown is over. But you can create things, paintings and artwork, crafts, things like that, that you may find that you have a talent for, that you may be able to share with others in the future. Practice a new instrument. My daughter still has a guitar in her closet and probably has not used it for more than the day that she got it out of the package. But I would say I wish I had a talent towards playing an instrument, but even if you don't, you could still pick up an instrument and learn to play the guitar or the keyboard or practice your vocal skills. Start writing a book. I have added that on my list of things that I wish to do. I have several children's books as well as several proposals academically that I have begun. So I would say to you, let that flow through you. If you have memoirs that you would like to write, or stories, or a blog, start those things during this time. Try out new ideas, or restart some of the old ones. Because guess what? During quarantine, you have now the opportunity to be able to start doing things that you've always wanted to do but couldn't do because you had to make a long commute at work or your work schedule prevented you from doing so. You know, start eating cleaner. Start exercising regularly. Reading. I have been trying to read something for fun rather than just academic things, which is what I find myself reading a lot of more these days. But I would like to just pick up a Harlequin romance and just read that. I haven't been able to do that since high school, but I think I might put that on one of my lists for one of these days. Some of the home improvement projects. My fabulous brand new closet is almost done because that's a project that I'm doing with my husband together. He's building it and I am supervising. So that's pretty much how it's been. So think of things that you couldn't have done because you were distracted with work and your commute and sometimes just the kids, you know, that you want to do for yourself. Also, you can prepare yourself for a new career. I know that may seem a little extreme for some of you, but maybe you've wanted to change your career for a long time and you didn't have the courage to do so, or there were many other excuses why you didn't do it. So maybe this time you can prepare for that change. You might be tired of being in a cubicle or sitting at a desk. You might want to work outside, you know. You might want a change in direction completely in the field that you're doing right now. So use this time in quarantine to practice a new skill. Taking online classes, okay? I mean, I am sorry. I'm an online professor as well with Walden University. And I am so happy that I am also able to get professional development that I can do for myself, enhance my own skill set. Some of my students have been able to catch up with the things that they've been doing. Also, maybe you can work with a friend on a small business, or you can build a new brand, or fix your resume and apply for a new job or a new career. Another thing that I've been using this time for, this change and this starting over, is to grow closer with the people that I care about. I've started taking the time to touch base and grow closer with my family. And I hope many of you are doing so because in the past, my schedule was so busy. And of course, commuting, when I would go to work, it'd be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So I've been taking time to learn more about my child, my daughter, Carrington. I've been taking time to learn more about my husband and our new relationship of being married. And I've been trying to do some activities in the house that I would like to do with my family. I haven't started the planting in the backyard yet. I want to do a cactus garden with my daughter because I think it would be something that will build a stronger bond with us and make our relationship more meaningful. So, having dinner with your family, which is for some of us we never did because we were coming home so late, doing things together, taking a walk together, having a movie night, doing a board game. Can we have the list of free courses again? Yes, I will do so as well. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, thank you very much, CT Cover. I am going to go, I have it cut and paste it. So there's a bunch of free courses, fitness programs, also for those of us who may need some assistance and support with our mental health. I have also listed, and there we go. There we go. I will list, like I said, some of the courses and different resources that you would find on Higher Potential for Learning Facebook page for homeschooling, as well as helping parents manage the transition of being parents and teachers. Okay. So many of us have used FaceTime and video chat and Skype and Zoom to create new connections with their families. So quarantining can be an opportunity for you to reconnect with old friends from school, which I have done, and whom you haven't seen in a very, very long time. Friends as well as family. I, like many others, have had to learn that, sometimes you were angry and upset with someone a long time ago. And now, if you try to remember what you were upset with them about, you can't even retrieve that information from your brain or remember the emotion you felt. So, some of us, like myself, I am learning to work my way back to making connections with people that I have broken connections with. And so also I am finding that I'm getting new ideas and creating new goals with individuals that I have met online in different groups, with friends that I've reconnected with. So building these 100% remote learning groups is a good thing. So for example, you can have book clubs, you can have knitting groups, you can have where you guys do watch a movie together. I've seen my daughter do that with school friends. They're watching, like they have a watch party, but they watch a Netflix movie together and they talk about it and they're all watching it at the same time and they have popcorn and everything. So if you're motivated to do some of these things, maybe you're motivated to start one of your own and create or encourage your family to join one with you. This is not a time for you to only see it as a negative or as a bad thing that we've been forced to do. This is a time for us to look within and to start making the changes from the inside out. Okay? So instead of sending an email, write a letter. I love handwritten letters and I love cards, and I have boxes of them from ones that people have sent me in my past that I cherish because I love the written word. There's nothing wrong with a text and there's nothing wrong with an email, but I think there's such a specialness with the written word. So remember, while we're on quarantine, we we will have a disrupted routine. Don't get me wrong. And you may find that you may have to strongly encourage yourself to use this opportunity to improve yourself. But I'm telling you, try new things. Reconnect with people. Learn a new skill or new skills. Help us all emerge after this into better people so that we are going to work more on keeping our pollution down. We're going to continue to make connections with our family. We're going to continue to put ourselves first and to slow down and to meditate and improve in our meditation and to start building with new skills or start a new career. I need you guys to remember you can turn any bad situation into a good thing. You can change the negative into a positive. That change in itself is good. And many of us needed it and were afraid to make the changes. And now we are being encouraged to do so because it is the only direction to go in is towards positive change. So I want you to remember to continue to wash your hands and with soap and water and to continue to use hand sanitizer when that's not available. Please wear your masks when you need to and continue to practice social distancing. Some of you participated today, and I thank you very much for doing so. I look forward to seeing you all again on Come Sit and Chat with Dr. Clay on Tuesdays and Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Time or 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, if you would like to be part of a free weekly support group that I also facilitate, I want you to come on Wednesdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Time or 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. But you will need to privately message me to get the Zoom ID and password so that you could join us during that time. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to. And if you need someone to talk to one on one, I have provided you with links of different organizations in Trinidad as well as globally, and that will address your needs according to your language so that if you need to talk to someone, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you just can't handle it, or you need a direction and you need someone to guide you, please Utilize the resources that are available in your state, the resources that are available in your social network with your friends and your family. You're not alone. I promise you, you are not alone, and you never will be, because we're all in this together. So I thank you again for sharing this time with me, and I want you to keep safe and be blessed always. So I will pause for a second, as I know there's a little bit of a delay. So just in case, please leave any brief comments or notes in the chat area. Private message me if you have any questions about anything, and I'll be happy to hear from you, and I will always respond. Thank you again, guys, and have a good afternoon. Bye.